Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series Redemption Tournament Group C, or day number 3.
We're in the thick of things, man, but we're starting to get down to the wire for today. 2 more matches to go. One, Silentstorm versus Koroneko. The winner of that places Roger, and places into the Season 2 finals, happening June 5th to 7th. Make sure to get your tickets if you haven't already. Me and TJ will be there. Reynad, Kalento, Life Coach, Kabi, and Trump will be there. What a crazy lineup that is already. I think the season finals can't fail based off that personality alone. We've got fun activities planned. We've got great Hearthstone games, and it's going to be promised to be a best atmosphere. It's a Milkcast Productions. Milkcast, the guy who put on Challenge Stone.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Arenas, WECs. Deck Wars, all that stuff. He guarantees that it's going to be the best land you've ever seen.
He was a pioneer in the world of Hearthstone production. So
if you like those tournaments in the past, he's the one in charge, so I think you guys would like it.
Yeah.
If not, then if you don't like Milkcast Productions, then don't watch.
And, of course, along with Milkcast, the people that let us put on these great land productions are, of course, our wonderful sponsors, Plantronics and Gigabyte. Plantronics headsets have been to space, if you guys have been watching the commercials.
It's kind of actually funny how they have to advertise that so well, and it's not just a common fact that's like, oh, did you know that when they land on the moon they use Plantronics stuff? That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it really is, and they started making a big stride towards gaming, and that's why they're helping us out a lot and letting us do all these fun things.
Turns out there's a lot more gamers in the world than astronauts at the moment.
Slightly.
But, no, I mean, maybe in the future, in 100 years, who knows? There's going to be so many people traveling through space.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the case. That's what Elon Musk wants.
And, of course, make sure
they'll all be playing Hearthstone on LTE.
on their phones in space.
As they're traveling to their planet. Can you imagine?
And their phones will have gigabyte motherboards. No phones, really.
No, they probably won't.
Yeah.
That's a really good segue, though.
Awesome. Also, make sure you're tweeting at us. Use the hashtag HLS. Follow us on Twitter at ESL Hearthstone or at Frodan. At AsimoCutie. Tweet at us. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Your ideas for dragging cards as well. See if you can top Dan's ideas.
I think it's more realistic to expect that one day someone might be playing Hearthstone as they travel in space than it is to see the dragon designs that I suggested.
Oh, I thought you were going to go in a different direction and say for dragon decks to be viable.
Oh, wow. That's actually a pretty bold prediction there. There's actually a couple of dragon decks that are somewhat viable, so that'd be a facile argument. But I want to take an opportunity to recognize the coolness of bringing Priest, Rogue, and a Paladin as a lineup in currently Conquest, and Silentstorm has that. Koroneko has a more traditional lineup, but he's got Freeze Mage, and that's definitely the weird deck choice here for Conquest. People have pretty much phased it out, considering that they have Druids, they have Control Warriors, and they might have, the Handlock that has Ragnaros that might be really good, or other decks that might have Ragnaros.
Yeah. But this, I don't know how this is going to match up for Silentstorm. The first matchup that he had matched up pretty well. But this is going to be really tough for him to find wins. I think it's going to be especially tough for him to find wins with Priest. What's he going to beat with his Priest deck?
He can beat Druid. Priest can definitely beat Freeze Mage if it makes it lines up well.
That's probably the toughest one.
It's probably tough. You think tougher than Handlock?
Well, Freeze Mage can literally just do whatever they want against Priest most of the time.
Yeah, but he's got Shadow Word Pain, so Shadow Word Pain can be good against the Doomsayer, so he doesn't get the combo off.
Yeah.
And if you get an early game Circle of Healing with the Injured Blade Master, that damage just racks up over turns, and you can't necessarily kill it off until you get Fireball and something else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, first matchup is going to be Mage versus Paladin. Silentstorm, one of 3 players in the last 2 weeks of the Legendary Series, including the last 2 days of the Redemption Tournament, to bring Paladin.
So GCT Turf was one to bring. Oh, Paladin. They meant Priest.
Paladin. There's been a couple more players that have. There's actually been more Priests than Paladins.
Paladin was brought by Domdus.
And today also was brought by Azuzu.
Oh, that's right.
And that is it.
But Azuzu got 3-0'd on his Druid, so he didn't get a chance to play it.
Yeah, we didn't even get to see it. That's right. So in reality, we've only seen 2 Paladins since week 2 of the Legendary Series in 2 months.
Right.
We broadcasted like almost 100 best of 5s. No, not quite.
Oh, I've certainly casted 100 best of 5s. I don't know what you were doing, TJ.
Yeah, I'm getting close.
Yeah, you're getting up there. You're at like 99.5.
I was watching your best of 5s and just envying you.
Well, Koroneko immediately introduced with an interesting set of choices here of what he wants to do on turn 3. Arcane Intellect guarantees the draws. Acolyte will almost certainly just gain you 3 life and draw 1 card.
Mm-hmm.
I think because you have 2 Acolytes, it's okay to do this. But what more importantly is that it encourages the Knife Jugger to attack into this, and then you can ping it off.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately why I think this Acolyte play is pretty good. So that you can kill off the Knife Jugger without having to Frostbolt it.
The ping would have made for an awkward turn 4 if he didn't draw into a 2-drop. But this lines up quite nicely with the Frostbolt.
Yep, that's right. Frostbolt, not the most crucial card in everything because you have 2 and you only need 1 to activate the Ice Lances. Pilot Shredder comes down and that's just more pressure. Things are starting to snowball. And there's an Antique Healbot already prepared so that when he has the Freeze Mage and everything else gathered up with the Alexstrasza combos, he can heal back up to 23.
Yeah. Paladins can have a good time in this matchup just because the early pressure that you mentioned, plus they can buy themselves like 3 additional turns later on in the game with cards like Anti-Healbot, into Loatheb, into Lay on Hands. Like lots of ways to just prolong the game and allow them a few additional turns to try and take out the Freeze Mage before they can get enough burst to kill him.
Couple of ways to play this turn. You can fill out more mana-wise, or you can play the Defender of Argus here. Defender of Argus is just stronger damage after you kill off this Acolyte. Oh, he actually lets his opponent maybe draw 2 cards instead of 1 and goes for the pressure instead. I mean, it is powerful pressure. Keep in mind that this is the last turn before Flame Strike will always be threatening to wipe the board. And Paladin's not necessarily a class that plays too many minions that are above mid-sized range, right? Like he's got maybe Sludge Belchers, Tyrion, and Sylvanas. I guess the Quartermaster technically counts, but everything else is like live for Flame Strike to ruin it.
There's some creatures that can be sort of annoying to remove, like Piloted Shredder or Shielded Minibot, but they're usually really vulnerable to those types of clears.
Well, this is pretty unlucky for Koroneko. He's got 4 of his secrets and no Mad Scientist. So now Mad Scientist is just a dead draw.
Look at that little guy hiding behind Koroneko.
What? There's someone behind him?
No, the little plushie.
Oh. Oh, that thing. Oh, that's a little doll. I don't know. For some reason, I thought that was like an onion.
Dan's an onion. He put a hat on an onion and put it behind him.
I don't know, man. They like weird stuff over there sometimes.
That's true.
Like,
they like the personification of
there's like a lot of
foods.
Weird trends in Asia that sometimes I just don't understand.
Yeah. Like drawing faces on onions and putting hats on them. I heard about that fad.
Put this apple on your head.
I hate you sometimes, TJ. Goes for Muster for battle. Doesn't even care. He just wants optimal damage. 3 juggles to the face?
Whoa! That's ridiculous!
It's going to immediately shatter this ice barrier. Opponent was working at effectively 20 HP prior to that activation. Now he's got an opportunity to actually deny this Acolyte from drawing 2 cards. His opponent's at 8, so he would make him overdraw by 1.
I think that's why he didn't really care too much about denying the draw, right? Because either way, he's at like a full hand.
Yeah, in that case, he actually wanted it, so he didn't lose.
Yeah.
Flame Strike comes into the hand, but what will he burn?
Pyro Blast.
Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world because he only has 1 heal bot. Have to imagine this is a Flame Strike play. And it would be doubled up if his opponent had a Doomsayer come out of it. Well, Explosive Sheep is...
That's really good.
Pretty useful.
Because you can't really play anything.
I mean, he can.
Well, yeah, but...
Play Sylvanas and just attack.
It's only 1 damage.
Right. he shouldn't actually play, like, he shouldn't do anything that involves hero powering, because it's just going to die to the explosive sheep. This might be an opportunity for you to play Emperor Thorson now.
The Emperor Thorson, though, you can't block. You can Emperor Thorson Ice Lance.
But are you really afraid of dying? I guess you could die to Consecration and True Silver because it's 8 mana.
Yeah. You just die to... No, you wouldn't. Because you'd ping off the...
Yeah, you ping off the explosive sheep.
Yeah.
So you were just afraid of True Silver, but I forgot he'd be at 8 mana, so it's true. Unless you wanted to Ice Lance Sylvanas. That's also okay. I wouldn't mind doing that. There it is. I like it.
Then you sort of can cash in next turn on the explosive sheep. You don't have to ping it off now. You can sort of allow...
Well, actually, this allows you 2 turns in a row to get Thorson because you can Frost Nova the following turn. This, of course, really stinks for Silentstorm. He just has Dr. Boom, but Dr. Boom's going to get frozen, and he's going to get more value off of the Thorson. It almost doesn't even matter anymore that Mad Scientist comes in hand because Secrets will cost 1 mana. Oh, that's clever. I like it. Gets the kill on the Thorson. Oh, look at that. Explosive Sheep ended up being okay.
Yeah.
Pretty funny how that happened.
His boombots were pretty underwhelming, though. I think he wanted some face damage with those little guys.
Yeah. If you, I mean, that's true, but even if you got some face damage in, unless it did like 8 to the face, it's still like the same.
Yeah.
He's going to stall out the board. I like personally keeping Sylvanas alive in case you get Doomsayer. You can just ping it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a pretty big draw, though. Yeah, that's a huge draw. Yeah, Tyrion's going to be really powerful because it's just like so many ways. You can't let it live, you can't let it die. You have to just freeze it continually. If it dies, it just gives you the weapon, the Ashbringer, which puts you on a really hard clock of 2 turns, and then the Tyrion, of course, is a lot of damage. He does have that other Ice Barrier up, though, so he's effectively working at 17 health.
Every time Tyrion is drawn, like the jingle that plays when Tyrion is played, plays in my mind for like 5 hours. That!
Every time it's played, it plays in my ear for 2 seconds.
I hate you sometimes.
Oh, well.
That's
pretty convenient. Now you can play that, ping the Sylvanas, let it get stolen, and then you can save your Frost Nova and instead develop Ice Block. How much damage do you have in the hand? You've got Fireball, Frostbolt, Ice Lance. That's only 13 damage. So you can't start burning. I guess that's where burning Pyroblast is relevant, because if you had Pyroblast, you'd have 23 damage.
There's actually usually a lot of health that you have to get through with Paladins. Because normally they have...
Oh, True Silver is also 4 heal abuse.
Yeah. So you have double True Silver, Anti-Heal Bot, and Lay on Hands. So that's 20 points of healing that you got to get through.
Right.
That's a lot. You basically have to do 50 damage. Really hard with Pyroblast. Without Pyroblast, unless you get lots of value out of Archmage and Tinnitus. Which is still definitely a possibility. The game is young. Oh, he's gonna get greedy.
Does he play? So he just holds on to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a chance that maybe he plays like True Silver.
So he's selling that he doesn't have Doomsayer. This is very next level. So he's saying like, okay, I don't have Doomsayer, I'm screwed,
Yeah.
And then he's going to fill up the board a little bit more. But of course, if Silentstorm is kind of in tune with this, at best he plays Shielded Minibot, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Second Doomsayer.
Yeah, Koroniko's got a good poker face.
So now he plays Frost Nova number 2 and Doomsayer, right?
Yeah. Or maybe, okay, right.
And then the whole point is his opponent might have a Silencer deal with it.
And then he still kills it.
Quartermaster doesn't help, so I guess he just hero powers just for the fun of it. He could also just pass.
Yeah.
There's no way to influence it otherwise. Now you get the Ashbringer. and now your opponent has to stop you from attacking all the time to the face. Arc Intellect's pretty good. Now you can drop Doomsayer again.
Antonitis.
Interesting. Antonitis. That's going to be really useful in the following turns.
Yeah, I mean, next turn he could... Whoa. Okay.
Oh, I forgot about the 0 mana Icelands. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's good.
I was going to say this is weak to equality, but now it's not. You'd have to have equality and consecrate to take this out.
Ooh, double Quartermaster. That's unusual, considering that one Quartermaster usually gets the job done. It could be so many things that everyone's expecting only one Quartermaster usually, that the second is like, you know, not as high of a factor.
This is brutal.
Right.
Letting Archmage Antonitis go unchecked.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you're reducing his attack to 1, but I mean, he's still got spells in his
yikes.
hand that are reduced.
That's a big draw. Flame Strike to clear the board, and he's got 2 more fireballs. I mean, Antonitis isn't doing 5 damage, but that's still really strong.
Aha! Why does he laugh so much when he takes fireballs?
I don't know. I guess he's just a cheery guy. Silentstorm's just kind of dead. There's just too much burn. Can't kill him fast enough.
Yeah.
He can even fit in fireballs with an ice block. That's usually one of the most awkward things where, like, you only can fireball once, ice block and hero power, but he can fireball twice now. He's a Thorson. I mean, that's 24 damage points of burn plus whatever's coming next turn.
Yeah. Silentstorm had a good push in the mid game there.
There's a lot of fireballs coming their way. And there's even a Zombie Chow.
Yeah. This Paladin lived a good life.
Yeah. I mean, Koroneko went for the aggressive play on the Antonitis just in case his opponent didn't have a response to it, and his call was right.
Well, I mean, let's take a look here. Do you just start fireballing minions?
That's actually a good question.
Because even if you go, you do what, 13 damage to face here, develop ice block. Oh yeah, you have exactly 13 damage next turn. Even with just fireball, ping. Put him on having heals, but Doomsayer is sort of going to secure.
He's got so many turns where it's like the fireballs are back to back. That's 5, 9, 14, 16, which happens to be the ice block pop. But then the Zombie Chow dies. Zombie Chow restores your opponent to 5 health, or by 5 health, so he goes up to 6. You can't kill from the hand. This is really complicated. You might have to kill the Doomsayer. But then if you don't do it, you don't pop the ice block, then how do you expect to win? It's quite the conundrum.
Yep.
Yeah, he pops it so that Zombie Chow doesn't end up becoming alive. Of course, he knows his opponent has insane amounts of burst, so his hope is to
draw Lotheb into lay on hands.
Or Kazan Mystic.
Yeah. But that's unlikely that he even runs it.
Right.
I mean, right now he could even just, well, Fireball Blizzard. No, it's not really that.
I mean, he can get away with it because he's just so far ahead.
Yeah.
Just way too much damage.
It even has the 1 health. Whoa.
Wow, that was his direct damage. If he went for the face, I think Silentstorm's really unhappy. He ended up just sacrificing some of his damage because he really needed to try and get his opponent down to ice block pop range.
Well, there's still an opportunity, but no, I don't know. Let's see, if he puts him down to 2 this turn, even if he draws lay on hands, there's still 2 fireballs remaining, he's dead. If he draws Lotheb, 1 fireball is still able to be played, he's dead.
There's too many fireballs. It's crazy.
Yep. That Archmage Antonitis, not having the answer
He would
for
have
that,
to lay on hands into Holy Light in order to survive. Yeah. So I think he knows what time it is. And unfortunately for Silentstorm, even if I think he predicted that he'd draw Consecration direct damage from the hand, there's no guarantee that he'd be able to figure it out. Now, Freeze Mage, on the other hand, has been gotten rid of. It's one of the tougher decks he probably had to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm almost out of cards.
Oh, whoa!
That's
actually a scary moment. We didn't pay attention to how many cards were taken, but if he was like decked out, if he played Cold Light Oracle, actually that's really unlikely. But imagine if he got something equivalent to make his opponent draw a little bit. That would have been really funny to see him die to just fatigue. Yeah,
only one card remaining. That's a pretty big deal. But he's gonna, like you said, take out that win with Freeze Mage. Silentstorm, he's still not in the worst of spots. I mean, the rest of his decks line up okay. I think Freeze Mage would have probably been the tougher one. Paladin can overcome Handlock because of equality and just because of early pressure. Rogue might not do so well either. Against Druid, yeah, but he wants to match up. He wants to like match up the Rogue against Druid, and he wants to match up the Paladin against the Warlock.
Paladin against Druid is okay too.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to match up
Priest against Warlock.
Yeah,
Priest against Warlock's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, he needs. If I'm Koroneko, I play Warlock all the way through, and then actually, hold on, this is really complicated. Is there a way that you can guarantee, like, make sure the last game is a favorable one? Because if you win with the Warlock, then your opponent just tries to beat Druid every single time.
If you throw out Druid here and beat the Paladin with Druid,
gotcha. Then that's like a guaranteed win.
That's the best. And there you go.
Yeah. That's pretty smart from Koroneko then.
Yeah. If you're Silentstorm, you have to sort of predict that. But, I mean, it's really hard because it's like all mind games. Then you go to the point where Koroneko could predict that Silentstorm is going to predict that he's going to pick Druid. And then end up picking
at a
something
certain
else.
point, if you go deep enough in the mind games, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah. It just comes down to you got to win with all three of your decks anyway. So you might as well just roll a dice and throw it out. But, yeah, this could be an opportunity for Koroneko to run away with this. If he finds a win with this Druid against Paladin, then it opens up his Warlock to just have to find one win against either Priest or Rogue, which are both favorable matchups for that deck. So this is sort of a... I mean, every game at this point is a must-win, but the pressure's on for Silentstorm to take a win with Paladin in this matchup.
All right, well, the Druid versus the Paladin is, it's a matchup that we've seen quite sometimes in the past. Generally speaking, if you don't have a good opening hand, though, as the Druid player, which Koroneko looks like
It's okay if he draws into big things.
Yeah, he just needs to draw to Ancient of Lore, and this hand becomes amazing.
Yeah.
If he doesn't and just picks up Savage Roar or Force of Nature...
That is okay, because it can allow him to cycle or deal with the early creatures to give him more time to draw into big stuff.
Silentstorm only has to pass, no shielded mini-bot. No, I mean, it's a situational card. The swipe is not necessarily a minion that he wants to put out. And there it is for next turn. So his hand's shaping up okay.
He's got to find uses for those innervates, though. I mean, I guess as the game goes on, he's going to regardless. But getting out to a really quick start is pretty important.
Yeah, Silentstorm getting double Shredder plays is going to dominate the board for a little bit of time here.
Double Shredder into True Silver Champion.
Innervate Dr. Boom.
Yes.
But there is a big game hunter wing on the other side, so it's not as big as a gain as you might think it would be. Especially if a Boombot just hits the face for like 1 damage.
I've got East in my sight.
Oh, he's just going to ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay. You'd let the Druid dictate the pace, like attack into the big game hunter twice?
Well, turn 6 is that turn for Druids that's usually quite awkward. So, like, what else is he going to do? I mean, like, the way you win is by pressuring really hard. Like, not by trading 4 damage into one Boombot.
Ooh, that's really bad. I think he would have sequenced that the other way.
Yeah.
Get the damage onto the Pilot Shred a little bit more. And all of a sudden, 1 Consecration could rock Koroneko's world. And he's at the mercy of drawing. He's at the mercy of drawing Ancient of Lore.
Off the top.
You can't pass this up. This is straight up just like domination on the board. He just used 2 innervates to gain all this tempo for nothing.
He's got 2 cards left.
Oh my goodness. What's with him and the explosive sheeps?
Imagine if that was an explosive whelp.
He probably is going to want to hero power this down. And he doesn't want to use Keeper the Grove, so he's just going to pass. And he gets full initiative.
All right. Well, I think Sylvanas seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, Sylvanas is pretty great. Shredder and hero power is like equivalent power, but Sylvanas is just like...
And this ruins the
really
rag play.
It's going to bait out the Keeper. Oh, there's a Spectre Knight that you were mentioning.
I said, I've seen a lot of players over the past couple days playing with the Spectral Knights.
And Spectre Knight against Paladin is actually one of the least impactful classes that it can have against, because it does have a way to deal with it through the Peacekeeper.
Yeah. But it destroys warriors.
It's true.
I know firsthand.
And Rogue, which is important.
Yeah.
Because Silentstorm has that Rogue.
Yeah. It's also a very cool golden card.
It's pretty sweet, I gotta admit, the way it keeps fading in and out like a ghost. Because it's a spectral knight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed that before you pointed that out.
All right, well, here's the next level to it. Ragnaros' background is because he's the Fire Lord.
What? You're telling me the orange and red glow coming off of his body?
That's right.
Is because it's fire
Because he's not in a
and
Fanta
lava?
commercial.
Wow.
Because he's the Fire Lord.
It's not a card that Kel from Keenan and Kel designed. It actually is fire and lava.
Yeah. That's why also there's leaves in the background. I could do this all day. This is what they're actually paying me just to tell you this. Nothing else.
Awesome. I really need it and appreciate it, so I'm glad that you're around for that.
With Keeper of the Grove used, that also means an opportunity for Tyrion to have high impact value. Ragnaros is going to be not impactful whatsoever. Your opponent drops Rag, you Peacekeeper it, and use True Silver. True Silver it down. No matter what Rag hits, it's going down. It's just, you really hope it hits Sylvanas just for the highest value.
Ooh, well,
Okay.
second best.
Sure.
Not too bad.
Peacekeeper, True Silver, and then shut it down with Sylvanas that end up surviving here. And now this is basically where Paladin starts running away with the game. It's got such a commanding control of the board. Doesn't even have to use True Silver. Forgot about the Quartermaster, just got drawn. And built up his board even better. He avoids Harrison. It fills out the mana curve. Excellent play here from Silentstorm.
And boards like this are really hard to deal with for druids. Like
For
lots
sure.
of just like medium-sized creatures that really pose a threat. Because they have single target stuff like Wrath, and they have like small scale AoE with Swipe.
Right.
But Swipe against like lots of things with 3 health. It's evident in Patron Warrior as well. Just really difficult to remove.
Sylvanas is not even that impactful on the board. Your opponent can just play like a hero power and then trade Sylvanas.
And then kill whatever it is.
Kill
with
whatever
True
comes
Silver
out
Champion.
like almost immediately.
Yeah.
And like even in the worst case scenario, which is the Quartermaster getting stolen. I was going to call him the Silver Master.
I have no time
He ends up getting destroyed by the True Silver.
I was really amused by that one post on Reddit that was saying the Quartermaster was like a guy that gave people arms. Did you read that? It was literally like an entire story. Like
Yeah?
I wouldn't call it fan fiction, but maybe even would go so far.
I would call it fan fiction.
It wasn't erotic enough to be fan fiction, but it was like the Quartermaster was just giving... Silverhand recruits basically have one arm. And what the Quartermaster does is he gives the Silverhand recruits a second arm. And that's why he says 2 arms, man. There was a lot more...
I have a strong feeling that if I go and find this post on Reddit, the count posted will be Azumo Cutie.
I'm just advertising myself.
Like, yeah, that was a really good story, man.
I said it was interesting.
And I can see why.
It was amusing.
Written, produced, directed, a screenplay by TJ Sanders.
The Quartermaster.
Written by TJ Scarn. Well, he's got 2 Silver champions to control the board until forever. Like, Silentstorm's actually at that point where he could literally close his eyes, play any card, and just run over the Druid. There's just no way for him to seize back control. There's just too many threats, and even if he eliminated Tyrion somehow, which is the pressing threat, there's the Ashbringer to follow it up. Paladin has dominated the Druid this game. And it's a lot we were talking about at the beginning, TJ, about the early game start. Koroneko had Wild Growth and 2 Innervates, and a lot of people probably will be typing GG immediately because they assume the game's over.
Yeah.
Druid has that Wild Growth curve. But he didn't hit into a lot of important cards after that.
Yeah.
That's why it's one of those things where it's like, do you keep both Innervates if you have that and your Wild Growth as an opening hand? You probably toss one back.
I think it's sort of like a one or the other thing as well. It's like you either have an Innervate start or a Wild Growth start that's strong, or like a Wild Growth and start that you innervate into an Ancient of War. Because his problem was he ran out of cards. Yeah. Because if 3 of your first 5 cards are cards that like aren't bodies, unless you draw into Ancient of War really early, then you're basically going to be in a position that we just saw Koroneko be in. So he's going to tie up the series. Silentstorm's going to tie up the series. And that was, I want to say, must win. Just because if he had lost, it would have been really tough for him to win the series at all.
He can't let the Druid escape. He basically has to use the Druid as a target for him to defeat.
Yeah.
And it ends up being okay because Roger also has a Druid. And if he's truly targeting the Druid every single time, then he's got the Druids to defeat all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which would be, I would say, extremely fortuitous that he hit 3 out of the 7 players that happened to bring Druid. Or 4. There's actually 4 players.
Yeah. Actually, most players today brought Druid. So
yeah, that's true. The majority did.
That's a really good read by Silentstorm then.
Forgot about Zuzu that also brought Druid.
Yeah. So what happens is they know their group, but they don't know their bracket. So they don't know their first opponent or their potential second opponents until after they submit deck lists. So they can look at a broad spectrum of their group and think, well, what are most of these players likely to bring?
And then can I target that?
Yeah, and Silentstorm said, well, maybe all these players are going to bring Druid, and that would be a good read if that was true. And so I'm going to bring 3 decks that sort of target that.
But why not bring like a Warlock instead of the Priest? Because that's really good against Druid.
Because his name is Silentstorm.
That's true. He is quite the hipster.
The arch nemesis to Spider Raj.
That is the worst fan fiction you've written yet.
It hasn't even been written yet.
It does sound like
Don't judge
some
a book
kind
by
of
its
awful
cover.
knockoff clash of like the Marvel's Avengers or something like that.
After the cast today,
Big rivalry.
when I go back and instead of doing prep work for tomorrow, I'm going to write the fan fiction for Spider Raj versus Silentstorm. And I'm going to post it on Reddit and Twitter and everywhere. And if it gains traction,
then I might never see you again. You might actually make it big from that point on, TJ. You become this big best-selling author.
Blizzard might hire me for their lore team.
I would pay to see that happen.
Okay. Well, we should be jumping into the next match
We should
here momentarily.
Yeah, we could. Roger will be waiting the winner of this, but he has that Druid Warlock Hunter, Warlock Warrior lineup. Hunter seems to be phased out for today. We have 2 players who only brought the Hunters, and one of them didn't even play it.
That's a weird choice, especially considering I think players have said that Hunter is getting stronger instead of weaker.
Stronger?
Interesting. Yeah. Well, you're one of the guys that said it.
I didn't say it gets stronger. I think it's a good deck.
Yeah. Well, the hybrid Hunter, the hybrid face Hunter, mid-range Hunter that we saw have lots of success.
I personally like it just because of the way the metagame shifted where you need to play faster than Patron Warrior, like in that hybrid Hunter does. But it gives you the opportunity to still scale enough so that way you just don't get shut down by like Warrior or Druid because the high mains are in there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I like the Freezing Trap too because it's such a good mind game. You throw the Leper Gnomes and the Abusive Sergeants and the Wolf Rider and all of a sudden Freezing Trap's there and you're just like, what? So it's good stuff. Personally, I have a really good win rate with it, but that's just because it works well on ladder doesn't always mean that it's the ideal deck in a conquest format.
Yeah, especially single elimination.
But it's pretty similar though. Like generally speaking, you know, going to conquest, bringing good ladder decks, that's always an acceptable lineup.
I think players could have been rewarded today by bringing Hunter, and I say that because the 2 players that brought Hunter, we didn't even get to see it. Azuzu got 0-3'd, and Leppy got 3-1.
Watch your back.
Well, it's
So-
going to be Rogue versus the Handlock. This is a tough matchup, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But not undoable. Not undoable at all.
I find it similar to, and I've made this comparison a few times throughout today in different matchups. I find it similar to Grim Patron Warrior. The matchup. No, that's not like a joke or a nod to
I know it's
me
not
comparing.
a joke, TJ. That's why it's even funnier to me.
You looked up and you raised your eyebrows at me like it was the funniest joke you've ever heard in your entire life. No,
Yes,
but it is.
Because when I find something hilarious, I raise my eyebrows.
Yes. Slightly. And then give a suggestive look. But the reason why it's the same as Grim Patron Warrior is because a lot of times, think of like the frothing berserkers as like the oil. You have to find a way to get around that and connect. You're raising your eyebrows again, and it's just distracting me. Oh man.
Well, I don't have very thick and noticeable eyebrows, so I have to be very emotive with it in order for it to get to my point across.
So you're just practicing. Or you have a point that you're really trying to get across. But no.
I think Silentstorm is in big trouble right now.
Yep.
In very big trouble. His opponent's about to curve out, and he's going to be hit with the 3-4-5 double Drake into Mountain Giant. Oh, there's 2 saps. Hold on. 2 saps might be able to lever something. But yeah, go ahead, DJ. Continue explaining.
Well, I was saying, think of the frothing berserkers like the oil. You have to find a way to connect that damage to the face. And it's so hard because you have limited amounts of removal. The sap is basically like the execute for the Grim Patron Warrior. And you have other tools that can win you the game, but they're so ineffective. Like Violet Teacher and 1/1 tokens are similar to like Grim Patrons and Warsong Commanders. Like you can throw as much as you want into the big walls, but until you can get through and connect with the bigger things, like big frothing berserkers, or in this case, like a Tinker Sharpset Oil weapon, then you're not going to win. And that's why I think it's similar. 10 minutes later, the point comes out.
Gotcha. Ah, it's interesting. Especially considering that this might end up being the case here. Koroneko taps the Mountain Giants. He's not expecting second sap because it's highly unlikely. That might be the punishing point. Ooh, Emperor Thorson.
You know, there's one charge on his dagger, though.
Right.
And Tinker Sharpset Oil is really hard to use with Violet Teacher on the board, though. It's like a 1 in 4 that you just get screwed if it goes on to the newly spawned apprentice.
Emperor Thorson makes things cheaper. Next turn, you can weapon up sap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, you can do that next turn because it becomes cheaper. You can sap oil next turn while weaponing up.
I don't think the Violet Teacher is a very good teacher.
Why do you say that?
She gathers a bunch
They are
of
the foundation of our nation.
She gathers a bunch of students, okay? A bunch of students around her, and she yells at them and says, "Whenever I cast a spell, grab a stick and go attack something." That's what it is. They have a stick, they're only 1/1s. The real life implications.
Sounds like you should write a fan fiction about it.
I'll just include it. The Violet Teachers actually fight for
Are sticks an
Silentstorm.
emotional trigger for you, TJ?
You caught me. I've been had.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shields up.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Is that lethal? Sap is, let's see, sap, oil. It's 4, 6, 7 mana.
It is?
4 damage. Plus 5, that's 9. Yeah!
But the oil has to go.
Oh, it has to land.
It has to land on
one of
the-
the 1/1s.
Whoa!
Or 3/5.
I am ready to
Oh boy.
Ooh!
No, it's a 2 out of 5 chance where it lands on something that's not a minion that can attack this turn.
I am ready to learn.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Here we go. And that's it.
Wait, that was a mistake.
What?
He should have oiled before he sapped.
No, because then how does he combo? He needs a combo.
Oh, okay,
effect.
yeah, I see.
Yeah. But
Wow.
it's one of those things where it's always so scary because they create 2 more tokens there. Silentstorm kills the handlock. I can't emphasize how big of a deal that is. Because now he gets 2 chances with Priest. Before he might only have 1 chance with Priest. And realistically speaking, it's probably going to come to Game 5. Because I think Koroneko is just going to queue up handlock again against Priest.
Yeah.
And then Silentstorm might barely lose or something like that. And then he plays Priest against Druid.
The double sap was a really big deal.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you always rather just have a minion sometimes, and then it's like you realize this is actually the exact card I can use to start pressuring for lethal. And it's because it's unusual that it sometimes works. You don't usually have 2 saps in the opening hand. You don't keep sap, so how do you expect him to draw 2 saps?
Yeah.
And if he has those 2 saps that end up doing it, it's like you catch your opponent off guard because he gets a little bit lazy. That tap into Mountain Giant when he had 2 Sludge Belchers that could have been played back-to-back to complicate the Violet Teacher math, that ends up being all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And because Koroneko got greedy in that respect, which you can't really blame him for, he ends up getting punished and loses the game that he should have won.
Yeah. And now he's got Druid and Warlock remaining. Those are the Druid first.
Yeah, Druid first, I guess because he has to win with it anyways. Change of pace, change of scene. It could be one of those things where, like, if he wins this match, he'll go into Game 5 feeling like he's won the series.
Yeah.
Because handlock is that difficult. Especially one with Mountain Giants in.
And especially a Priest that doesn't have a Light Bomb.
Right. And Silentstorm also knows what kind of Warlock it is, so he can't get the advantage of, like, oh, he tossed away Shadow or Death because he thought it was Zoo.
Yeah. All right. Well, Silentstorm's going to have 2 opportunities to find a win with this Priest. Silentstorm wants to defend his title of Legendary Series Champion. He won Season 1. Will he even make it to Season 2? We're going to find out.
He's already off to a bad start. Not having the coin as a Priest is a pretty big deal, just because you need that extra card. Priest thrives off of making decisions with more cards. You know, decks like Hunter, sometimes you do just need to curve out. You don't need that many cards, but Priest is definitely a class in the opposite spectrum.
Yeah.
The more cards you have, the better you can line up the removal accordingly. Oh, I forgot about Spectral Knight. Spectral Knight is also a really problematic card for Priest.
That's really true, actually.
Although,
how do they Cabal Shadow Priest,
Cabal Shadow Priest,
and Shrinkmeister. Yeah. That's about the only way you can deal with it. It doesn't even get caught up in like any sort of combos because you can't even Alkanize Soul Priest and ping it off.
Interesting. Would you Power Shield again? Doesn't really matter. I mean, the hope it's not that you want to get the extra health, but you want to just get the card cycle through.
I think maybe he wants to be able to defend against like a Shade.
Yeah.
Because if he keeps 2 spells in his hand, he can just kill off a Shade that spawned.
He really wants to get the Spectral Knight out as soon as possible. That second Wild Growth, by the way, might just be dead for a long time.
Yeah.
3 or 4 cards. Even though everyone tends to usually immediately assumes 2 Wild Growths. Oh, that's amazing. Usually the second one's a little bit awkward. Druid of the Claw Charge. Interesting. Okay, so he does this because he assumes Priest can't easily deal with it. He's half right. And what this does is it paves a way for Spectral Knight to be really effective.
This is like a pass. Wow.
Yeah, and ends up being the exact right call. This is really bad. Remember, Silentstorm really needs to win this match. He can't afford to let it go to Game 5. But he can Holy Nova now and then set up for a much better Alkanize play the next turn.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
This sort of fits the same
Sure.
line, but yeah, I guess since he's spawning the
Right,
Light
but
Warden.
then how does he deal with the Spectral Knight if his opponent has removal? Like, this is Keeper of the Grove, right? Keeper of the Grove plus Hero Power down. It feels a little bit greedy, unfortunately. Koroneko playing the Pilot Shredder does tend to ignore it, though. And he plays a second Wild Growth because he wants to start putting on pressure. He doesn't assume his opponent can deal with it.
Well, he knows that the Light Warden is not going to get buffed. So it's going to be a 1-2 regardless.
But he couldn't. But he's wrong in this sense. Like, he makes the read that his opponent doesn't have a way to deal with Spectral Knight, but he does have the Circle of Feeling. So both players, basically assume that the other player can't deal with the board. And in the end, Silentstorm is the one who comes out okay from it because he needs to be the one who cleared the board here.
And he can even fit in some other spells.
Yeah. Light of the Naru, number 2. And you should be able to shoot down whatever comes out.
Or not.
That's really awkward again, because if that gets silenced by the Keeper Grove, it's another 4-attack minion.
This is one of the strangest. I haven't seen a board like this in a long time. Because it's been a while since we've seen Spectral Knights and Druid. It's also been a while since we've seen like classic Wild Pyro, Alkanized Circle type control priest.
Right.
In competitive as well.
He's probably going to have to hero power down like this this Ancient Watcher, right? So that way, just in case he comes live, it's not as threatening.
Sludge Belcher.
Seems like a really easy way to just like start capitalizing on swipe somehow here, but it seems a little awkward. I'd be really scared to play Shade of Nax Rammus and Sludge Belcher because of possible clears with, and then like Shadow Madness.
Yeah.
If you keep,
it's not really a clean way to deal with swipe or to use swipe because even if you use Keeper plus swipe, like how do you do anything? The 7 health is problematic.
The so what Silentstorm is doing, he's pushing these Light Wardens with the Auchenai because it's like you have to kill Auchenai first. But if you don't kill the Light Wardens, then the Auchenai is going to deal more damage to the board. If you kill the Auchenai, then the Light Wardens become live, and they can start gaining insane power through the Holy Novas. So this is where the choice is. He probably has to end up swiping and then using Keeper. Silencing... Oh. Is he going to hit one of these Light Wardens instead? I think he really wanted to silence the Auchenai first. So that way you can remove the health buff and then kill off the Auchenai. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Koroneko, I think, realized he made a little bit of an awkward sequencing, and he needs to actually move fast.
Now the Soul Priest lives. And he can actually just use Circle of Healing here, throw the Light Wardens in, and clear off the whole board.
You're right.
That
and then play
like,
Sludge Belcher.
That seemed like a really weak turn.
Yeah, this ended up backfiring a lot because Koroneko didn't sequence the way I think he originally planned to do it.
Wow.
Okay, so now that Silentstorm's going to play Sludge Belcher and control the board here, he's going to have 8 power that's live, and you can answer anything that comes out. Dr. Boom with a Shadow Word Death. And his opponent doesn't necessarily have the Savage Roar to finish off the game either, so this is a pretty decent spot for Silentstorm. I think he just has to evaluate if
it's worth it.
It's worth it, because he does end up putting his Keeper, his Auchenai to 2 health here.
He's been pretty conservative with his Circle of Healing, and that might be one of the reasons why Koroneko went for a play like this. It seemed like he had other plans, and then he kind of panicked at the end and just threw out the Shade because he didn't know what else to do. But he might have been putting Silentstorm on not having Circle of Healing.
Oh, is he going to Holy Nova instead?
Wow.
This is really creative stuff.
These are going to be huge.
Wait, how much damage is this? This is not lethal, is it?
It is. Those are going to be 11. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
22.
That's crazy.
What the?
Oh, my God.
That is the sign of an amazing player. When you can spot lethal,
whoa!
I want to. That is nuts.
Oh,
he did this to us in one of the legendary the week that he actually qualified, or one of the weeks that he helped him qualify. He did that to us as well. He spotted lethal when Dan's not even in the shot right now.
My neck is in permanent shock.
Yeah, Dan's eyebrows are just going nuts.
I'm dialing a chiropractor right now to fix my back because I just stuck my head way back. That was crazy.
Wow. I was wondering, you look at his webcam and he's like counting. He's like,
yeah. Because
I was like, Circle of Healing does 4 damage with Auchenai on the board.
Because it just felt like clear. Because you can clear off the board, you can control it with Sludge Belcher, but he thought about killing off his own Auchenai to heal. And I know a lot of people might be focusing on the fact that we missed lethal, but the fact is, that was really impressive play.
I'm not even upset at myself for missing that lethal. Usually I'm pretty upset.
It made it much more exciting.
Yeah. Wow.
Silentstorm is an amazing player, and he's doing it with decks that we don't come to expect, with plays that are very creative and way more advanced because he knows that he has two forms of heal, and if his opponent can keep a minion on board, then he's able to go for those lethals. Really funny point that Ancient Watcher ended up being so passive that it ended up being plus 4 damage per Light Warden. So that was 8 damage caused by an Ancient Watcher off the drop of a Pilot Shredder. And you don't tell me that's not impressive. Tell me Hearthstone's all RNG. Jeez.
Such heads-up play. Ridiculous. But Silentstorm's going to move on to the finals to face Spider Raj. So let's take a look at the bracket.
Spider Raj.
Let's take a look at the bracket before we jump into that.
All right.
To see where we've been throughout the day. So the semifinals, we saw Luigi's fall to Spider Roger 3-1, and that really exciting matchup. Impressive stuff from Silentstorm, taking out Koroneko in 3-1. So the final is set. We are one match away from determining one more player who's going to be joining us at the Season 2 Legendary Series Land Final. Silentstorm's going to try and make a return, and Roger wants to try and prove himself, make a trip to NA.
I think if Koroneko made the right play by playing the Keeper Silence and attacking in, he actually would have even guaranteed himself further kill because more damage onto the board. The Shade would have survived. So I just wanted to point that out there because it looks like Koroneko's mistake didn't end up making any difference. And he took it in good stride. He seems to be a good sport. I think Hearthlytics is a very promising team, and I think I can't wait to see how everyone else is going to do with its Bolt and everyone else there in Jab. So congratulations to Spider Roger and for Silentstorm for getting this far. We're going to take a break, TJ, I believe, right?
Yeah, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we return, the conclusion of Group C of the Redemption Tournament, where we will invite one more player to join us for that $25,000 land final in June. The final right after this break.